For a long time as an entrepreneur, I've struggled with my finances. Oh, even worse than that, I kind of swept it under the rug and couldn't figure out why things weren't going in my direction. My wife brought to my attention a few too many times, maybe you should put more focus into the financial part. I was like, at this point as a young entrepreneur, I was a artist, I guess you would say, a artist in helping businesses grow their revenue. But when it came to me looking at my own numbers, I was almost exhausted and burned out. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs feel this way. And in doing so, they aren't serving themselves the way they serve other people. This podcast is brought to you by the Wirebuzz team. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because I've spent the past decade growing Wirebuzz into a digital marketing powerhouse designed to maximize clarity in complex sales processes so we can help accelerate revenue. And we do this in 3 phases. Phase 1, we transform your website to function like your best salesperson and then also incorporate persuasive on-demand sales videos. Now your entire team is aligned on messaging and they're injecting massive clarity into your prospect's head. So your site looks great, but it also has engaging content that helps your team sell on demand 24/7. The next phase, phase 2, we train your sales and marketing teams to sell remotely or in person to expand the impact of your sales team. And the third phase is we develop and run targeted ads to your prospects. Scale those ads to help you achieve more business results. Sign up for the Wirebuzz Company newsletter to learn more about effective and simple ways to improve your company messaging, attract more digital attention, and ultimately make more sales. To help you have a smart way of looking at this, I want to introduce you to a seasoned fractional CFO, a business strategist, more than 20 years of experience, the founder of Pivot Business Group, and I'm joined right now by Pam Jordan. Hi, Pam.
Hey, Todd. So pumped to be here.
I'm excited. This is, often I think people's favorite topics are the ones that they don't spend enough time on because apprehension, fear, sweep it under the rug. They prioritize other things. But then, like me, is it common for you to see that becomes the primary problem?
100%. People come to us because they're stuck and they can't exactly articulate why, but it's really they don't have clarity on their numbers. They don't know what their numbers are. And that's why they can't get to whatever the next level is in their business and in their personal life. And their time management is crazy. And it all really comes down to numbers. And unfortunately, numbers tell a story. And a lot of times entrepreneurs don't stop and listen to what that story is.
Yeah, I love this. All right. So for those of you that have been following me for some time, you know that as a digital marketer, I'm always telling you that the decisions for what to do inside of your marketing projects, the decisions are in the data. And something tells me Pam Jordan feels that the decisions on how to advise you and the stories are also in the data. Is that true, Pam?
100%. Yes. The numbers tell a story.
What kind of stories do you see in the numbers that allow you to guide somebody?
Great question. So unfortunately, a lot of the times the numbers are telling a story that aren't in alignment with what the entrepreneur feels. So the entrepreneur feels we're killing it. Sales are great. I love my team. Our clients are happy. And then you look at the numbers and there's no money in the bank. And the owner just can't understand, where did my money go? What happened? And far too often they're working really hard and really good at what they're doing, but because they're not tracking their numbers in real time, the money's just coming in and it's going right out the door. And they're not prioritizing their profit, which is a huge problem that I see most entrepreneurs doing, is they're just focusing so much on sales and they're not focusing on what they keep. And so that's where just putting their head down and working and selling more, they think it'll solve all their problems. But if you're selling a product at a loss, like it costs you more to fulfill on it than it does than what you're collecting, you're just going to get broke faster. You're not going to win this game.
All right. So as I hear you talk, in my brain, I go back to young Todd entrepreneur before my career took off, when I wasn't in control of my numbers. I remember ending, it's probably like this time of year. It's like end of the year. I got to see what the real year looked like. And we crushed it. And I was on airplanes 3 weeks out of every month. And our clients were loving us and the agency was growing. But Pam, we ended the year with a 7% profit margin. And that
Yeah.
spiraled me into first phase depression, second phase proactive, how do we make this different? And so we reconfigured our numbers, we reconfigured what we're selling, how we're packaging it, how we're pricing, and within 3 months we hit a 42% profit margin and nobody pushed back on us.
That's
And
amazing. And that's the answer. And it's looking at your numbers and saying, why am I getting out of bed for 7%? That's
yeah,
not worth getting out of bed for, right? Like I can just go get a job. And so it's looking at your pricing, looking at your expenses and what you're fulfilling and just tweaking those numbers. And a lot of times it's multiple places. So it's not, unless someone's literally stealing from you, it's not like you have a leak out of your business. A lot of times it's make a little bit of change here, make a little bit of change here, reduce this a small amount, and a couple of 2% tweaks. And all of a sudden you can add 10 to 20% to your bottom line, exactly like you did, because it's small tweaks along the way. It's not, let me double all of my prices and slash my payroll in half. Most of the time it's small tweaks and small changes that make the hugest difference.
it's the little hinge that swings the big door. Right?
Absolutely.
All right. So I want to clear up some confusion. I bet you there's a lot of people in the audience that are confused between their controller, their maybe their accountant, and what a fractional CFO does. Can you dispel myths, add clarity here?
Absolutely. So these words, bookkeeper, controller, accountant, CPA, enrolled agent, CFO, like all of these words get confusing and people use them interchangeably and they are not the same. So let's start with the bookkeeper. This is a amazing person, we call them number ninjas, who love to track money. And so they use software like QuickBooks to track the money, label it, money in and money out. They're telling you what's happened. It's all about perspective. Imagine your business is a car. You as the entrepreneur are in the driver's seat, the bookkeeper is in the back seat. She's telling you where you've been. She's giving you reports and saying, here's what happened last month. Good job. They're not giving you advice. They're not interpreting that data. They're just tracking the money movement. A controller is also in the back seat. They're able to run some more reports. So they'll do a rolling 12. They'll do a budget to actual, but they don't give you advice as to what to do differently. They just tell you what happened. A CFO is your co-pilot. They're the one that has the map and says, here's where you are, here's where you want to go, here's what we're going to do to get there. So they take the information, the valuable information about where you've been, but then they tell you now what to do now. And they're saying, okay, we need to increase from 7 to 40% net profit. Amazing. Let's look at pricing. Let's look at expenses. Look at staff capacity, all the different levers that CFOs have in their toolbox to pull to make those financial impacts. Now, a CPA, an enrolled agent, their job is taxes and compliance with the IRS. They actually are beholden to the IRS, not you as the business owner. And so those are important people because they keep you making sure that in the US, the IRS doesn't come and kick down your door, but they're also not here to necessarily proactively help you save on taxes. And that's where a tax strategist comes in. Often they're CPAs and enrolled agents, but there's also certifications. And so they're taking the information that the bookkeeper controller has, taking the forecast from the CFO and says, okay, based on where you are, based on where you're going, here's the tax strategies that we can put in place to help you save on taxes. So all of those roles, it's all about the perspective of how they're helping you. And a typical tax professional is just helping you be compliant with the IRS. They're not helping you save on taxes. They're not helping you be strategic. A tax strategist has a forward-looking view of your business, just like your CFO. So it's all comes down to perspective.
Okay, I like this. This is super helpful. So the reason I've been frustrated for so long is because I'm expecting certain people to advocate for me in certain ways that their profession or their training is not designed to. And I'm expecting to get some type of golden wisdom for somebody who has no specialty in that area. And it's like hiring a marketer that is a branding guy to be your lead gen person, but they're marketers and they deal with marketing. So there's a lot of friction that I'm sure people feel because they're just dealing with somebody who's underskilled or hyper skilled in one area, but not skilled in an area that they think they should be in.
Technically, all of those people I've described could be considered accountants. So just because someone says, oh, I have an accountant, that doesn't tell you anything. Are they looking in the rearview mirror of your business, or are they looking forward? Are they keeping you compliant with the IRS, or are they trying to help you strategically save on taxes and grow your wealth? And far too often, to your point, Todd, people come to us and they're like, I just am really frustrated with my accountant because they're not telling me what I can do. I'm like, okay, well, what tasks are they performing for you? Oh, they run my payroll and they reconcile. Okay, well, you have a bookkeeper. Your bookkeeper's not going to tell you and give you advice on how to grow your business and how to increase your profit and how to improve your overall financial picture of your business and help you exit your business. They're just going to tell you what happened. And so a lot of times there is that friction. And so people get frustrated and like, oh, my accountant's awful. No, you might just be expecting the wrong thing from your accountant. Your bookkeeper's not going to help you give tax strategy. Your bookkeeper's not going to tell you how to increase your profit. They're just going to tell you what happened last month, which is still valuable, but expect the right thing from the right people.
I can see that being a major hang up for people. Tell me about a fractional CFO. Like, what role does a fractional CFO play, and how do you help people win that portion of their finances?
So a fractional CFO is a chief financial officer. In the corporate world, they're in the C-suite. They're at the board meetings. They're talking to shareholders. They're putting forth the monthly or quarterly reports. But they're most importantly in an entrepreneur founder arena, really helping you achieve whatever your success and what your goals are. A lot of our clients want to scale and exit.
Anytime I hear scale and exit, I'm like, yes. Can I get an amen? Let's exit. That's the whole purpose, right? You didn't start a business to hire yourself so you have a lifetime job chained to your desk. You want to sell and exit.
Exactly. And so that's where a CFO and a fractional CFO really adds huge value. We have clients right now under LOI, which means letter of intent, which means within the next 2 to 4 months, they will sell and get some big checks. But that's because they worked with our team to understand their numbers, understand how they're spending their money now isn't necessarily helping them when it comes to an exit, because how you run your business when you're not trying to sell it is not how you run it when you're trying to sell it. So we as CFOs come in and always help you run your business like you're wanting to sell, so that if an opportunity comes in, private equity, an outside investor, or whatever comes to the table, you're always ready for that conversation. Because far too often business owners decide too late that they want to sell, and there's too much work that needs to happen. And so we get a lot of referrals from M&A firms because they're like, hey, we've got this client. It's a digital marketing firm. They want to sell, but their numbers are a mess and they've been treating the business like a piggy bank and they're not worth anything. Can you come fix them? And we're like, absolutely, but they'll be back in 18 months to 2 years ready to sell. And so the problem is business owners don't pay attention to their numbers and they don't have the right advising team helping them prepare for the exit. So when an opportunity comes, they're literally leaving money on the table.
Yeah. It was obvious for us, my wife and I, as young entrepreneurs, when we had a business problem, we consulted with a family member who had a very large business. And this is my stepdad. And he said, why don't you just have my CFO reach out and work with you guys once a month? We had his CFO operate as a fractional CFO in our business. And it was obvious to us that our in-house CFO, and this is like 10 years ago or something, wasn't a CFO and was just a bookkeeper with a fancy title. And everything changed for us like overnight because we became more serious about our numbers, and then the business took off.
Absolutely. And it's having a partner to have those conversations and be like, hey, Todd, this is what I'm seeing. Over the last 12 months, this has been declining. That's hurting you. Here's 2 options. Which one do you want to do? And that's where the CFO brings the value to look at the numbers, analyze them, and make it in a way that's understandable for you, right? Like, I have degrees and certifications and all those things, but I'm not going to talk to you about retained earnings. I'm just going to tell you how to increase your profit.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now, I'm sure a lot of people ask this question in their head. Do you have to specialize in an industry, Pam Jordan, or can you step into like almost any industry because the numbers are the ones that tell the stories?
So our approach is because the numbers tell the story, the industry doesn't matter. There are some industries that we don't work with,
Yep.
but for the most part, we work with service providers. And so professional services,
Yeah.
home services, all of that. And it doesn't matter if you're a roofer, a plumber, a hairstylist, or a marketing agency, the levers and the tools that we have, we pump your numbers into our tools. It's going to tell us what's going on.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter what your product or service is. The numbers tell us where the problems are so we can roll up our sleeves and help you fix them.
I kind of do something very similar, just on the other side. So my agency is a revenue acceleration agency that does the lead gen, the conversion, the sales optimization, and we follow the entire where the lead comes in all the way through the experience to close more deals and then get freakish escalation. But for us, it doesn't matter what the industry is. The numbers tell us the stories, and really all we have to do is increase a couple of areas and plug revenue leaks. And before we know it, we've got the revenue going, but you're on a completely different side of it than I am. But we're looking at similar indicators of profit and loss, and then coming up with unique strategies that allow you to stop losing and start winning.
Absolutely. And your side of the house depends on my side of the house, and my side of the house depends on
Yeah,
your side of the house.
that's
Because if
funny.
you're not bringing revenue in as CFOs and bookkeepers and tax strategists, we've got nothing to do, right?
Yeah,
But if the client doesn't have their financial house in order, you can do all those magical things, but then there's still no money for payroll because the client's just burning it and running through it. And if they don't understand their pricing model, you selling more of a product that they can't afford to fulfill on doesn't help. And so it's really amazing how people forget the power of marketing and sales working along with the
yeah,
financial side of the house of the business, because together we can have a hockey stick
yeah.
improvements because we prove your worth. You bring money to the table for us to then take advantage of and give opportunities to the founder.
Yeah, it's really awesome. We just had a client. He founded a medical school,
Oh, wow.
4 students, full faculty. Pam, he was losing $1 million a month. Okay. Self-funding. We took it on as we got to jump in and help this guy. And within 9 months, we went from losing $1 million a month with 4 students and a full faculty to $46 million in revenue generated. And what
There
we
you
did
go.
is we just turned on the leads and then followed the leads wherever they'd leak out. We'd fix that spot until we started getting them all the way to the sales meeting, and we started closing them. And
Yeah.
by this, we did just in the 9th month, we did $30 million.
That's
And
a nice month.
yeah. And then the guy said to me, you'll love this. I went and had lunch with him recently, and he said, no more leads. We're already booked out for the next couple of years. And I was heartbroken, okay, because I
Oh,
finally got
no.
the system going. He's like, we're good. We have the same student body size now as University of Michigan's medical school. We're good. And I was like, that sucks. Like, we just got the machine going and he wants us to turn it off. And so I tried to talk him out of it. Then we said goodbye. I called him the next day to thank him for joining me for lunch. And I was in South Florida when I
Yeah.
talked to him. He goes, dude, you won't believe where I'm at. I said, where are you? He goes, I'm in Quebec. I go, what are you doing in Quebec now? He goes, I decided we got the leads. We just need another campus.
There you go.
And I was like, that's a crazy entrepreneur. That's
Let's go.
like, we've got everything. We just need more space.
Yeah. Because then it's
Unbelievable.
just copy and paste what worked, fill those leads into the other location, and you're rock and roll.
Yeah, it's so fun. All right. So for people that want to learn more about Pam Jordan, how you can help them, and how a fractional CFO service can help them stop losing as much and start winning more and grow their business for an exit, Pam, where do they go?
Absolutely. Just go to pamjordan.com, and that has all the information about my companies, the bookkeeping, the CFO, the tax strategy, the tax filing. All of that is right there.
Awesome. She's Pam Jordan, joining me right here on the Toddcast. Pam, thank you so much for enlightening us on this topic and helping to get people on the right path.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yo, that was a powerful episode. And from what we just learned, it should be obvious how you can now implement these lessons in your life to get to the next level. Now, before you bounce, I just have 3 quick thoughts. First, thank you for taking me on your incredible life journey. Second, if you receive some value from me and you want to pay it forward, it would mean the world to me if you left an honest rating and review at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. I'd be incredibly grateful. And lastly, if you share this episode, whether it be a screenshot or a photo from where you're listening, anything via Instagram stories or LinkedIn, Facebook, or any of the social media sites, just tag me and the guest. I'll repost your content and I'll reply back in the comments because I love mixing it up. In fact, I'd love to share your shout outs in my feed too. Not only are these shout outs really good for you and for me, but they also help us book more amazing guests because they'll be able to see the reach that you're helping to cultivate. This is a way for you to help contribute to the show. So thank you again for listening, and I look forward to earning a regular spot inside that ear of yours. Let's grow.